Hey everybody, I'm back with another movie review, and today I'll be covering the movie Burnt. Unfortunately, produced by the Weinstein Company, but it's before we knew all the shady crap that was going on with that guy. Uh, this is the first time I've watched this film, and I heard great things, so I figured I'd put it on the list for this year to check it out for the month of November to celebrate Thanksgiving month. Talking about, food, Native Americans, or family, which pretty much is like what this month is supposed to be about. So yeah, uh, this stars Bradley Cooper. But before I continue on, please do me a huge favor. Check out my links in the description below if you want to follow me on my various channels. Check out my Patreon if you want to further support the channel for certain reviews that you had ideas for me to talk about. Check out my Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Links are in the description below. So, yes, directed by John Wells. Starring Bradley Cooper as Adam Jones, Sania Miller as Helene Sweetney, Omar Shai as Michelle, Daniel Bruhl as Tony Bellardi, Ricardo Sacmario, or no, Sakamarkio. I butchered the heck out of this guy's name, but you know him from like John Wick 2, the main bad guy in John Wick 2, which like I noticed his like face. I was like, I took like at least 2 or 3 minutes before like I finally put the face to something I've seen before. There's a couple of these guys on this list. We got Sam Keeley as David. Alicia Vikander as Anna Marie, Matthew Rhys. I recognized his voice, but I could not put the face to something. I was like, I know this guy. I know I seen him in something, and it finally dawned on me. It's like, oh, he was the main star on the Americans, the spy drama. Back on FX. I was like, yo, that guy. Uma Thurman, who was like only a short little role as Simone the food critic, and Emma Thompson as Dr. Ross Heald. So it's a decent, star-studded cast here. So, to break it down, Adam returns to Paris from New Orleans from self-exile, essentially. Because it turns out that Adam, who was a big sous chef working under this guy named Jean Locke, who is the father of Anna Marie, who had a relationship with her at that time, but he got into got into drugs. He was a young hotshot chef, but he had like a bad temper and got on drugs, and on top of that ended up owing drug dealers money. So after a big blow up, he left Paris and lived in New Orleans for a handful of years, trying to get himself together. But once he scrounged up enough money, he got himself like a plane ticket, got himself back to Paris, and tried to rebuild himself, essentially. And to like, okay, now I know better. And his dream is to get a 3rd Michelin star in a restaurant. So he reconnected with Tony who really did not want anything to do with him because he's the maitre d' at this hotel, a real hotel, mind you, the Langham Hotel in London, the maitre d' de l'hotel. And in order to convince Tony to bring him on as the chef of the hotel permanently, he convinces a food critic that he knows to randomly show up. And because the kitchen wasn't like up to standards, he had no choice but to get Adam to cook in order to get like good reviews. So Adam starts to gather. After that succeeded, now he has a place, but it needs renovations. Since Tony has the money, he can get the reservations to bring the kitchen to the level of perfection, essentially, that Adam was looking for, because he wants everything in a distinct way in order to no slip ups. He needs the perfect crew. He needs the perfect tools. He needs the perfect kitchen. He needs the right locale. Everything has to be on point. As he points out, is that there's a difference between consistency in food and consistency in the cook. Mentally, he should be consistent, but not the food that he's a cook should prepare. So he gathers the team, including Helene, who Adam likes to cut her jib. He convinces the person she's working for to let her go, so she has no choice but to go to him, and he promised to triple her salary. And she has a young daughter to look after. And so it's opening night. Oh, and there's also Michelle, this black dude that blames, that back in the day, Adam, released rats in his kitchen that led to him to lose everything. They end up in a brief fist fight, but Michelle says hey, look, I had time to sit on this. Look, it's water on the bridge, and he decides to work with Adam. So it's opening night, and of course, things don't go the way that Adam wants it to go. And of course, if you watch this scene, and I've seen videos of other chefs, look at this. And the one thing that is pretty accurate is that, chefs tend to have A-type personalities. You look at somebody like Gordon Ramsay, it's not too far off track the way Adam is behaving. As a matter of fact, I think Bradley Cooper actually, in order to prepare for this role, studied under Gordon Ramsay in order to portray that top quality chef. As a matter of fact, when he's commanding the kitchen, it's kind of like a judge in a courtroom. What they say is law, and you answer them in yes, chef, or in France is oui, chef. And it's you follow their guidelines. And you see a moment where in a movie where Bradley Cooper tells Helene look at me. It's look at me. It's he says something, but it's yes, chef. Say it. Yes, chef. But that's just when he does that. According to chefs in the videos that I've seen, it's an acknowledgement. I see you. You're doing well. Because he doesn't a chef doesn't actually have to verbally say good job or you screwed up. There's a way it's a unique way they do it. But with that whole looking in her eyes and acknowledgement, and kind of nod. It's like it's akin to like, you know, a big bear hug. Like, you did it, man. You did it. That's the equivalent. They don't have to be bombastic about it. It's just like, it's a courteous. It's like, I see you. So I like this. It's like this, the realism behind, you know, the way chefs carry on here is pretty close, pretty on point, according to legit chefs who've seen films about cooking and everything like that. But what is not true is what Bradley Cooper's character Adam did, is where he got in Helene's face, completely disrespectful, like of everybody in his kitchen. And of course, there's some degree of realism where it's like a chef, if it's nothing, a cook in a particular way, because it's like, it's art to this. It's it's just like, I guess you can say it's meticulous, for the lack of a better word. But if something screws up, you don't scream, despite what you probably see in Gordon Ramsay. I think Gordon Ramsay is a unique beast in of itself, but it's not too, from what I understand, it's not too unheard of for head chefs like, you know, Gordon Ramsay or what's his name? Wolfgang Puck is, you know, not too dissimilar, but the 9 times out of 10, what a chef does, if he sees that you might be messing up a particular dish, he'll just, pull you to the side or push you to the side cordially and just take over to like prepare this, or just tell you to work on something else while he fix up what you are messing up. He doesn't do what you see here in the scene where he blows up in everybody's face and manhandles Helene, where she tells him like, I quit, don't you ever put your hands on me again. And he just tells everybody just to get out. But Tony ends up going to Elaine, tells her a little bit of Adam's backstory. But if I was her, I would have been pointing out, like, I don't give a crap about his little backstory. The dude put his hands on me. Almost anybody else would have decked him in that moment. There would have been a fight. Because that was not cool. Like, she could have easily called the cops on this dude, Adam, put in a holding cell for at least a little bit, because that crap was not okay. No cook, I don't care if it's Gordon Ramsay himself, he would not have done this. And I'm pretty sure he would have, despite what you might see on Hell's Kitchen Nightmares, that's just like played for a little bit of drama. I'm pretty sure he would shout. But he would not manhandle a woman the way like Adam just did. He would not go that far. He would just probably tell her to get out. Probably at the most he would have done. But he would not put his hands on people like that. That was just like wow to me. But they end up making up without like verbiage of like I'm sorry or whatever like that. But she points out to him in that argument about like the proper, you're looking for this perfection and all this other stuff. You don't have the proper tools for this particular dish that you said I screwed up on. But no, you failed to provide the proper tools that we need to perform the particular task that you require from us, which is fair. Because I can't help but think about that episode in Food Wars that I reviewed, which is up on my channel, which you guys should definitely check out. It is in the first season where Megami, one of someone you can hear of the main character of the show, whose best friend Megami, who was about to get kicked out because the dish she was preparing for her teacher was not to his liking, So he decides to like, you got a feeling great, get pack your bags, get out. But he stood up for her because he points out, well, the ingredients you provided for us wasn't to a good degree. So of course, despite how well she prepared it, was never going to be good to you because the ingredients she had to work with was not, fresh as it could possibly be. So you was dooming her to fail from the jump, and he challenged them on that stuff. And I thought that was a great episode. There's at least a couple of episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes of that in that first season that this carried on, is getting towards like, halfway, or, getting towards the end of the first season. Definitely check out, because that was a really top of the line, set of episodes in that first season. Whereas like, dude, like that was not fair. So as I see this, like, yeah, this she was preparing wasn't up to your standards, but I guess I don't know, it was slightly different because it's like, you didn't have the proper tools, but I imagine certain professional chefs could learn how to pivot by using some other particular tool. But whatever the case might be, she brought in kind of like a olive branch in a sense. It's like got this particular tool in order to prepare certain dishes in the degree that he expects from. So it's kind of like, get the quality that you need. So that way it can get a chance to do like a proper second opening, which happens to turn out better thanks to Tony providing a TV spot for him to announce the restaurant for, to drum up some publicity, which he was hesitant at first. And of course, in order to agree to have Adam on board permanently, he had to agree in turn to go to Tony's therapist and go through like a weekly, examination to test for any drugs in his system, which introduces Emma Thompson's character, Dr. Holside, and she kind of breaks it down from him, because I really wish we got more scenes with her because it's really good. Where basically, somebody, as she says, like somebody somewhere a long time ago told you as a kid, what you did was perfect. So now you're just, and anything less, will be imperfect, and meaning you're bad or something like that. So that kind of influenced your adulthood. So you gotta like work on that kind of stuff. And it's just like, that's the whole main crux. It's just like Adam's chasing this perfection, and it's like this achievement means a great deal to him. All the while, those gangsters are still looking for the payment that he owes them. But Adam and Helene starts to grow a little closer, in a sense. But Helene wanted some time off for her daughter's birthday, but he couldn't give it to her, which is like, why? Like, don't they get off days? Don't they get like sick days or whatever to utilize for one day? But I guess he needs her for that particular day, I guess. But I like this because this is very slick, because since he could not give her that day, which you would think she's old, especially after the fact that you manhandled her, I think you kind of can give her this day. So she and Tony convinced her and the other cooks to like kind of, it's a special day, whatever like that, for a unique customer. And Adam was confused, like, what the hell, guys? Like, why are you not doing this and that and the third? It's like, I asking, everybody's acting weird. And Tony comes in and asks him, like, we need a cake prepared. And Adam was like, I don't prepare cakes. Well, you're going to be doing it now. You have a unique customer. And he sees that it's the daughter for a birthday. And so Adam just relents and prepares a nice birthday cake for Lily. And you get a nice little fun interaction between the kid. The kid didn't really stand out so much, but the time we do have with her, it's, pretty good. She's a pretty good young actress. Really hope she continues more in this realm, because she's pretty solid. If you hone the craft a little bit, she can, be up there with like Sydney Sweeney or something, But then one night he, as Adam asked Helene to go with him to this shindig hosted by one of his rivals, Reese. But that's where he meets up with the daughter of his mentor again, who also was into drugs but got sober. She wanted to, pass along his, her father's set of knives to give to Adam. I'm just trying to figure out the good time to do so. Later, another day, Adam gets picked up by those goons, comes back later. Helene sees him out by the trash, bruised up. But Tony and the others notice that, these Michelin star critics are showing up, and that's a unique way of knowing where who they are, because in order to make it fair, they do certain signals to let the restaurant know that they're here, because they can't really do it in secret like most movies would portray it as, whereas like the food critics, gotta go in secret, so that way, the restaurant don't try to, pretty up, just for them, so that way they can like hide any bullcrap. No, they can just observe, so they can fairly observe. So they do little signs in order to let them, at least certain of them know that they're here. Adam, despite him being bruised, gets to work with everybody else and prepares the requested food for these reviewers. And a few minutes later, the food gets sent back, saying it was too spicy. And big twist, Michelle reveals that he doused it with cayenne pepper as revenge because he hadn't let it go, apparently, for revenge for messing up his restaurant. So now he's like, now we're even. And this is the kind of thing that will send any addict off the deep end. So now he's, getting drunk, having a complete meltdown, goes to his rival's restaurant and tries to suffocate himself. But his rival, who still regards him with respect, keeps him from doing so, and, has him sleep over in his kitchen to kind of sleep it off and fix him an omelet for breakfast to get something in his system. And it kind of passed things up because they had like a bit of like tension earlier. And so on his way back, he bumps into his ex-girlfriend, who pays off the drug dealers and hands off the knives to him telling him she approves of the new girl and everything like that. And he goes in, and Tony explains to Adam that while he's trying to call to the Michelin star, critics and everything like that, those who give those out, explains that they deserve another chance because of some sabotage in that kitchen. But they explained to him that they haven't sent anybody to review their restaurant, at least not yet. And turns out the people that they thought was the critics turns out to be just regular businessmen who just, which is kind of weird because they, there was like a fork on the floor. It was one of the signals, but I guess it just happened to be just an accident and they just dropped the fork there. But it's just kind of weird. It's like that fork situation, that's just too easy to be mistaken as somebody might have just dropped a fork, or if somebody having half of a glass of water or whatever these little signals are. That's too easy for anybody to replicate the exact same thing, not meaning to. They should have been a little bit more specific. That can't be confused with anybody doing the exact same thing on accident. It's equivalent to having your password 12345. It's the dumbest thing ever, in my opinion. I have my gripe about that. But also this ensemble cast, I kind of wish there was a little bit more to do. But it is hyper focused on Adam, but the ex-girlfriend, the daughter, doesn't play too much of a role in this, which you would think they should. Who are the people that he owed to? We don't get much with those guys to really hammer home like the severity of him owing this money. Are they going to kill him if he doesn't pay up in this particular time frame? It's like, yeah, that could have drum up more drama in this film to like, oh wow, it's like he's ignoring this because he's so hyper focused on getting the star, but like there's a deadline with owing these people, blah 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 blah. Then there's this thing with Tony, who turns out to be a gay man who has feelings for Adam, but knowing it will never be. Then after Tony reveals this complete misunderstanding, he gets up and gives this dude like a kiss, like a full-on makeout kiss, but it's like that kind of thing. And it's like, this is really not really needed. A hug would have just sufficed, And this dude already has feelings for you. You only kind of messing him up a little bit more and lead him on like that. It's like, oh my God. It's like, God, it's like, don't do that to this dude. I don't care how thrilled you are at this moment, but whatever. Wish, they could have done some. We got this cool ensemble cast, half of which are well-known actors. He could have done a lot more with them, especially with the doctor, showing the group therapy session that he keep putting off, but now he agrees to it at the tail end when he's at his rock bottom. Could have done a scene with that to really hammer home his come to Jesus moment, realizing his chasing this perfection is not something that he should concern himself too much about, because it's not going to be the end of the world kind of situation, whatever. But then the real critics that do eventually show up, and now he realized, okay, I'm not a crew of one, I'm a crew of 20 or whatever. And they all work as a team this time around. He got his third star, which I it's kind of weird. It's like in a different universe where this same movie plays out, but somebody made a different decision on like, okay, he didn't get that 3rd star. He only got like maybe like 2.5 or whatever. Because he already got a 2-star Michelin level when he's trying to achieve that 3rd star. It's like, would he still learn that lesson if he didn't achieve that star? But at the same time, I guess most viewers would appreciate him just getting that star because he's been driving that home all through this movie. But in the end, he finally got that achievement. He got he learns to like appreciate everybody to the point where he's now, where the movie ends, sitting down and having a meal with his fellow cooks, where early on he's just so like a lone wolf about everything, and he's so focused on reaching to the top, he's like ignoring everything else, which should be just as important, or if not more. So he's finally like sitting down, having a meal with his fellow cooks, acknowledging them and their hard work. And if it wasn't for them, he wouldn't have achieved this. But that was the movie Burnt. It's a really good movie. The hype, was well deserved. My only criticism, and I think a lot of people's criticism, is that the fact that besides from somebody like Bradley Cooper, who is like really brought his A game in his performance in this film, it's just he kind of outshines everybody else, even though everybody else did do a incredible job. But it just seems like they could have done a lot more with these people, especially quite a few of them are A-list actors in their own right. It's like Uma Thurman did not really need to be here, because if you hire somebody like Uma Thurman, I expect her to fulfill a lot more screen time than just that one scene, or at least 2 scenes, whatever. Someone like Emma Thompson could fill out a lot more with her. It's just you could have done so much more with a lot of these characters. It seems kind of sort of a waste. Not a total waste, because they still brought the A game. Nobody was really lacking here. But it's just like, God, you kind of like, it could have been anybody. If these roles were as short as they are, could have been filled by almost anybody else. Some new actors, or relatively new actors. Emma Thompson and Uma Thurman is not like anybody you can just, I'm pretty sure they didn't have no problem doing this, but if I'm making a movie and I manage to get Uma Thurman or Emma Thompson on board, I'm making sure they're not wasting their time, and I'm getting my money's worth out of these A-list stars. There's not going to be any wasted scenes when it comes to these particular ones. That's just my point of view. But that was the movie Burnt. Still pretty solid film. Really good. But anyway, next week is gonna be a fun one. It's gonna play into something that's coming out also next week, but I'm gonna leave it as a surprise. But it's gonna be fun to revisit these 2 particular movies because I haven't seen them in so long. But revisiting it's gonna be really fun. But anyway, I will see you guys Saturday, because tomorrow I will be busy going out to this important function. So I won't be back until a little bit late, so there won't be any streaming tomorrow like usual. But I'll be back Saturday. But I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a pleasant evening. Peace.